What's up everyone, Adam here from Technique Matters. So have you had trouble hitting depth in the squat? In this video, we might have the solution for you. Okay, before we start sharing, I just want to share with you guys that these are the common issues that we come through, myself, Clinton and JJ, when people are unable to hit depth. These are not absolute solutions, but these are ways to help a lifter to hit depth in the squat. Let me share with you guys 3 common issues that limits the lifter from hitting depth in the squat. So the first one is knees traveling too far forward in the squat. So what happens is the lifter descends into the squat and they hit the hole and the knees travel too far forward, where you come into issue where your calves and your hamstrings jam in together and your heels come up, and then that restricts you from going any deeper, so you decide to come back up. And for a lot of lifters, they feel like they hit depth because they have that sensation of the calves and the hamstrings touching together, so they think they've gone deep enough, but they actually haven't. Looking from a side view, they probably just hit parallel. So we've got some solutions to fix that, but we'll go through that in a minute. The second fault is knees traveling too far back. So they descend into the squat and it looks more like a good morning squat. They come down and hit the hole and the hips and the torso jam together and they're unable to get any deeper. What that does, it makes the lifter feel like they've hit depth, but they decide to come back up and they're, at best parallel. So as I said, we'll go through that in a minute. And then the last fault is hyperextending too much. Well, we don't want to hyperextend in the squat, but really hyperextending. And what that does, it just limits your flexibility coming down into the squat. You're very upright, really jamming up your lower back and your pelvis is really rotated. And that really limits you from hitting depth. So right now, I'm going to pass on to JJ and he's going to share with you guys the solutions, how to fix these 3 common issues in the squat and what to do moving forward.
Hi everyone, this is JJ from Technique Matters. So as Adam have discussed today, what we're actually talking about is hitting depth on the squat. So at Technique Matters, we talk about principles and how we like to use them to organize the lifts that we do. And basically, if you are struggling to hit depth in a squat, you basically have a problem of managing your center of gravity, right? So when you descend into the squat, why you would cut depth is because you don't feel stable in the position at the bottom of the squat, and therefore you will cut depth. So the exercise that will give you the best return on investment, that would definitely help you to first and foremost manage this problem, would be actually to slow the entire lift down. So what we suggest here at Technique Matters is, instead of going to the most complicated exercises in the first place, well, like for example special developmental exercises to help you solve this problem, what we're looking to do is actually slow the entire lift down, and what we suggest is to use tempo squats, right? The saying is move slow, learn fast, and what we like to do here is actually we would like to start you off with a tempo squat, and with that tempo squat to learn to feel your center of gravity managed over your midfoot. And what that means is you need to have even pressure between the front of your foot and your heels, right? So as you descend, you need to be controlling and sort of managing these 2 positions. Make sure that you have good heel contact as well as you have good forefoot contact. And as a bonus tip, what we like to do within the program would be to start with longer descents. So say for example, you can use a 6-second descent, and from there you can slow over maybe weeks or over maybe different blocks. You can drop the 6 to a 5-second to a 3 seconds, and then eventually you'll get faster and faster, but you'll be able to manage your position a bit better at speed. So this is what we suggest that you will do even before you go into more specialized exercises. However, if you're still struggling after doing tempo squats, or if you want to make it so that your exercises that you're doing can give you an even more bang for buck, what we're going to do here is to add that tempo into some specialized exercises. So if you're a person that is very quote-unquote quad dominant, and you tend to like to throw the knees forward and try to stay really upright, and that's causing you to lose your position and your heels coming off the floor, what we actually suggest to you is you can use something like a squat to a box, right? So this is not a box squat in the classical sense of you sit on a box and then you unload all your weight and then you try to stand back up. This is a squat to a box, alright? So you can use a box itself if you have one at your gym. If not, you can use something like a dumbbell, or else you can stack plates together. So what we're looking for here is basically as you descend, you are not going to just drop and hit the box hard because that will actually hurt, but at the same time what you're trying to do is you're trying to lower yourself and touch the box at depth and then stand back up. So what this will enforce to you is actually a bit more of a heel pressure and not to throw your knees too far forward and come off your heel. So in a sense, it gives you an external reference of how deep is deep enough, but at the same time allows you to sit back just the right amount. So if you're a lifter on the opposite end of the spectrum and you like to sit back and you've learned to squat with very vertical shins, what we would like you to do is instead learn to be more comfortable pushing your knees forward. So an exercise that we like to do here is something like a high bar squat or any kind of squat that will encourage more forward knee travel. And of course, some people will have limitations at the ankle for this to happen. So what we suggest is you can use any sort of heel elevation, use a slant board, or just wear heels instead. But at the same time, we want to re-emphasize that as you are doing all of these, you need to be able to control your descent into the hold and feel out the right amount of balance between the heels and the forefoot. So last but not least, none of these exercises will actually matter if you have not got the big rocks of the squat down. And the biggest common fault that we see here at Technique Matters is the fact that most people, when they brace for a squat, they are hyperextended. So no matter what exercises you use, if you are committing the fault of hyperextension or the open scissor fault, there is no way you can physically hit depth because you are now shortened the muscles on the back side of your body, and then therefore you don't have the range to go into it. So if this sounds like you, make sure to check out our previous video over here, and we will attach it so that you can see how you can brace yourself even better so that you have that stability to go into the hole with confidence. Alright guys, so this is all we have for you today, and if you found this helpful, please like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Sweet.